Ça va?
Ça va, oui. How is the party? Did you stay?
I didn't stay very long. I ate and
then
the food wasn't.
It wasn't great?
I don't like anything that was so creamy.
It's rich. Hi.
Hi.
Okay, we're here.
When you are ready, we go.
Thank you.
Hi, Juliette. You play such a fierce and unconventional villain cutthroat Bill. What was your initial reaction when you were approached for this role?
I felt it was a dream part to play because it was so unusual and I didn't know how I was going to achieve it. And because the description is that the people think she's a man and she's so savage in her villainry, I really wanted to inhabit something that would make people feel they would believe me.
Yes, yes.
So I had to be everything that I'm not, and then some.
Esmé, Lula is such a pivotal character trapped in a dangerous situation. How did you approach playing someone with so much at stake?
With so much.
At stake. S-T-I-K.
Oh, so much
Sorry,
at
for
stake.
the French accent.
I don't know. I think my method is quite instinctual. Like I just try and like inhabit the mindset of the character, like in my body and spirit, and then just learn the lines, and then I just do it. I don't think too much methodically about how I would do something like that.
The relationship between Jack, Levon Hawke and Lula drive much of the story. How did you and Levon build that sibling dynamic?
We really bonded in a kind of sibling way. We didn't have a lot of scenes together, but we obviously we're in Calgary, so we would hang out, and we both have like similar interests and bonded over books and music and films we both liked and things. And I was truly devastated. Like that really helps when you have to do a scene when you're like losing someone to feel the real feelings.
Juliette, how did you prepare to step into the shoes of such a complex, menacing character?
Wait, I just wanted to say, it's so beautiful what you guys do in every scene you have, and how much he adores you as well, because you didn't get to come to the LA premiere, but it was, anyway, we were all singing your praises.
Oh, that's
there.
nice.
Yeah. Say it one more time.
Yeah, sorry. Juliette, how did you prepare to step into the shoes of such complex, menacing character?
Yeah, it was interesting because this role came at a very perfect time for me where I felt a little bit beat up by life, you know. We had come out of the pandemic. I was in a few jobs for very long periods of time.
Okay.
And I was aching to come back to the movies.
Yeah.
Because the movies and the way they're shot, and even all the pressures that go along with a movie is something I understand, and it's near and dear to my heart.
Yes.
And I was doing several TV shows for a long period of time. And so I was really excited by really digging into this role. And but it was so complicated. It was so hard. We started with some scarring. We have a lot of external stuff in how we have to present Bill, because you have to think she's a man.
Yes, of course.
And then also the way I behave. That I took from people who ride horses for long periods of time, male or female. Horse riding people and people like surviving of this time period who are around animals and guns. They're sort of have a certain behavior away, and you become one with your animal and with the elements, the hardness of the environment. So I really worked hard to try to groove into that and get rid of all my comfortable, domesticated ways.
Very good work.
Thanks.
Esmé, your character endured quite a bit physically and emotionally. Were there any particularly challenging scenes for you in this film?
If I'm going to be honest, the rape scene was really hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really hard. I think also because we didn't have a lot of time to do it, and it was sort of, there were elements that were improvised, so it felt quite overwhelming. I think women store so much pain around that stuff in their bodies, whether they've experienced it or not, which most of us have to some extent. Definitely our grandmothers have and our mothers have, so it's all stored in our bodies, and I think regardless of how safe a set is, which ours was, very safe and nourishing set, it's still really hard to go to those places, and for the male actors as well, you know, to like put them to be like that, especially when you're improvising. It must be so hard because they were all such lovely guys. So I think for everyone that was a really hard scene to shoot.
It was our last scene of the whole picture too.
Yeah, so that was extra
for me
emotion.
Too, I was like, so dark, so much darkness.
Yeah.
How was your experience working with Peter Dinklage? He's not only acting but also producing this movie. What was his influence on set?
He was a huge influence for me in taking the project as well as the director. The two conversations I had was with Elliott Lester and with Peter Dinklage. Yeah. And I was just so taken by his professionalism, he's down to earth, and his talent. He barely has to do much, and you just want to look at him. This whole movie, I love watching him. He's so neat to watch, and our one scene together was really special. Without
such a good scene.
Doing much, we knew, because on the page it's very little words. Yes. But we both know.
The tension. The tension on this
yes,
scene.
The tension. It was all there. It was all there.
Yes.
I don't know. I like that scene very much. Because you aim for something and you never know how it's going to turn out. But I liked how it turned out.
Did you take any inspiration from Western villain as past for your role?
Well, wait, Esmé, what did you have to say about working with Peter?
About Peter? I wish I had more scenes with him. That's how lovely the scenes I did have with him were, that I wish there were more of them. Yeah. He's such a gentle spirit.
Juliette, did you take any inspiration from Western villain at the past for your role?
I didn't. But I do take, because in my early life, I like to read people. I don't know if you have this expression. And
we have.
One of these things, I had an affinity for very tough, cold men, or almost criminals. I've come in contact with many different kinds of people through my young life, and so early on I used to like imitate gangsters a little bit. So I got to put this feeling of this hyper masculinity, brutish thug quality. I feel like there's some of that in Cutthroat Bill.
The Western genre often emphasizes isolation and survival. Did ever or you find that playing this role affect your understanding of the time period and these themes?
I think I understand. How did the Western affect the time period and the themes because of the hardship?
Yeah, I think it was a very brutal period of history.
Yes.
You know, both with the natural elements and just the way that human beings treated each other at the time. Was quite archaic and lawless. I think especially compared to, like, you know, obviously you had all these kind of like settlers coming from Europe and the UK over to the US, and the kind of barbaric things they were doing to the people that native to that land. And so I think like when you're making a film like that, like there's always this kind of like bloody brutality to the, just like the essence of the characters, because of what they've had to both go through and do to other people to exist in that space.
And my last question, what do you hope audience at the Deauville American Film Festival will take away from this film and from your performance in particular?
Well, I feel, you know, movies is entertainment, even though it's can be sad and triumphant and all these things. I just want people to escape the everyday problems and have an adventure. And the ending of this movie, I was very moved by it. I hadn't seen it, and I hope people will love the characters as much as I loved watching and creating them.
And you?
Yeah, I think what Juliette said, you know, it's about a story, what telling stories means, about escaping and connecting to things and characters, and just that's it really. Yeah.
Can you take a picture?